Hi, everybody. I'm Brad Long,
I'm Ravi.
And I'm Lauren Maddox.
and we're going to speak to you about exploring the millennial generation, specifically about the Net Gen and how to work well with this group of employees. Ravi's going to start off with talking about targeting and recruiting the Net Gen candidates.
Guys, the main focus lies on what improvements the organization is looking into and analyze them accordingly. Next comes up how well we reach out to the people to let them know about the openings at their place. Here's where the advertising and the career fair comes into picture. Alumni from universities help in conducting a career fair. After that, the most important part is the recruiting. Depending on the requirement, categorize the skills based on experience, education, certifications, etc. Again, the alumni plays a key role here as they have a good idea about who can be a right match from their university. After recruiting, the next thing is to retain the talent. This can be done in several ways, such as supporting them to do domain certifications, which will not only help them but also the organization. Another way is to give a hike in their monthly salary or maybe an yearly bonus. Another important thing is by always keeping them engaged with challenging opportunities. The highest priority must be given to work culture, without which it is sheer waste how better any organization fares on talent of their employees.
Now I'm going to talk a little bit about work scheduling rules for the Net Gen. Freedom is a given for the Net generation. It has always been present for them, and it's something they expect out of life and their career. This is very evident if we look at the average tenure a Net Genner typically has at the companies they work for. It used to be that you went to school, you found a job, and you worked for this company a long time, sometimes even your whole career. Now, largely due to Net Genner's need for freedom, they are much less loyal to their employers. Their average tenure is only 2.6 years. Their need for freedom is evident not only with what company they work for, but also where and how they work. This generation is used to using technology to make life more convenient. They see no reason that they should have to conform to the typical 9 to 5 day at the office when they can work at home utilizing technology. The smart employers, like Google and Facebook, are realizing this and becoming much more flexible with their employees. One way to foster the feeling of freedom and innovation to the Net Gen is to free them from unnecessary meetings and administrative tasks. This generation is extremely innovative but also efficient. There is no faster way to suppress a Net Genner's creative spirit than to bog them down with inefficient meetings. Good employers are maximizing the time the Net Genners do spend in the office and freeing them up to work outside of the office the rest of the time. But the Net Genners need to see this flexibility not only in the company policies, but also in how they are paid. For example, in many workplaces, those that work the longest hours are considered to be the highest performers. This doesn't fly with Net Genners. They want to have their cake and eat it too. They want the flexibility to not work long hours and have their performance ratings and pay based off of the value they provide, not the hours they work.
I'm going to be speaking a little bit about technology and the Net Gen. Technology is rapidly changing and expanding, making the opportunities for the use of technology in the workplace the biggest learning curve out there. The Net generation naturally avoids this learning curve because they literally don't remember a day that didn't involve technology. This group of employees is used to multitasking both in their work life and personal life, making the way they work very different. Technology is literally an extension of themselves and is the essence of their work and their play. The Net generation is bringing to the table a knowledge of technology that many of their senior coworkers do not possess, making them increasingly valuable members of the team. Social media is transforming how businesses do business. No longer do we have to rely on the messages that's carefully designed in their marketing meetings about a new product or a job opportunity. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, blogs are the new sources of information. The Net generation questions everything and can rely on their peers to provide this information readily. On Indeed.com, for example, you can read and write reviews of businesses before deciding if you even want to work for the company. Individuals can use their extensive Facebook and LinkedIn networks to get the real story about a company's culture, management, and how satisfied people are with their jobs. Advertising, too, has been transformed by social media and the NetGen. Not only are companies no longer able to really control the information that is so readily available about a company or product, but they are also having to rethink the ways they communicate the messages they want out there. The technology resources for the NetGen are endless and ever evolving. Most NetGeners have their go-to favorite technology in social media, but no one NetGener relies on just a type of technology. The Net generation is constantly utilizing technology and using more than one type of technology at once. The Net generation is a generation of multitaskers, and what looks like what looks like disorganization to someone outside of the Net Gen is just a way of life for the Net Gener.
Avoiding the generation clash. If left to their own devices, there will probably be a clash of generations between the Net Geners, Gen X, and the baby boomers. There are some inherent differences between these groups of people that tend to be sticking points in the office space. The freedom that the Net Geners demand make the other generations resent them. They resent the fact that these younger employees want to work outside of the office, use technology to work, which often the older generations don't even understand. And they especially resent the fact that come performance evaluation time, their lowers don't automatically make them considered more valuable. The reality is, though, that if a strong clash does occur, it won't last long because the Net Geners will simply jump ship. This is evident with the high amount of turnover in this part of the work population. It's difficult for companies to retain good talent. So Net Geners leaving is a very real threat. This is amplified by the fact that much of today's senior management is ready to retire. Companies need the Net Geners. And this is the greatest source of resentment for the older generation. So for starters, employers need to keep the Net Gen happy. We've already talked a lot about how to do this. They need to promote freedom and emphasize a positive work-life balance. They need to be able to move around within their company so that they can satisfy their needs without leaving the organization. Work scheduling rules should be focused on fostering their creativity and innovation rather than chaining them to their desks. They need to use technology in the workplace, one, because it's something they expect, but also because it's how they'll take business to new places. At the same time, companies need to help the older generations understand why there's a need for a change in company policies. It is not just to satisfy a needy younger generation. Its true purpose is to create an atmosphere that the younger generation can thrive in and be most beneficial to the business. These Net Geners are very smart, and this should be showcased in a way that doesn't belittle the value of the rest of the employees. Net Geners love to collaborate. This is a great opportunity to involve older generations and get them working together. Lastly, the workplace needs to be made fun again. This is something the Net Gen expects, and it's also something that will help to disarm the older generations. Frequent team building exercises and updating work facilities, such as adding gyms, will go very far for building a cohesive workforce. The Net Gen wants to work well and collaborate with older employees. The challenge is making the older generations want to do the same. This concludes our presentation. We hope that it was helpful to those that wish to work well with the Net generation and understand how they thrive.